Hello everyone. Another year has come and gone, and just as we all thought that we'd managed to ride out the all-star shit show that was 2020 and 2021, 2022 came along and asked us all to hold its drink, as it waded in with its own set of challenges. So I wanted to sign out on the year with another reminder of all the hilarious and crazy things that happen at this time of year. I'm once again joined by an awesome collection of previous guests, all regaling us with their Christmas stories from a life in hospitality. We've got Santas on camels, mutinous guests, present delivery disasters, and even some festive lust, along with many, many more. So sit back, grab your mulled wine and mince pie, and let your Uncle Phil take you on another adventure into tales of Christmas past. Merry Christmas, everyone. Welcome all to Hospitality Meets, our Christmas show. With me, your host, Phil Street. We brand new Christmas stories, our guests in all their glories. Who we got to tell their tales and get you in the mood? Well, back for more, Kieron the Boy Bailey. Christmas Grinch with Christmas moans daily. Then we've got Chris Fletcher, still a hoot I'll betcha. Once again they join me as the co-hosts of the show. Why? To showcase lots of Christmas cheer. Relax and grab yourself a festive beer and join us for our epic Christmas show. You'll be glad you did, I swear you really, really will, you will. So what can you expect on this year's show? Some festive tales and lots of snow. Chris gives us a corker of a nuisance Christmas stalker. Kieron tells us of a time he gambled with his guests. Mark Kirby next, calling from Dubai. His tale involves a Santa in the sky. His story does not end there, a camel Santa nightmare. Paul Spencer scares us all with tales of misdelivered gifts. Collier talks of mutinous guests. Bex McKeown has a walkout pest. First here comes that cheesy Christmas heart. Welcome back to Hospitality Meets, our Christmas show with me, your host, Phil Street. Grab your eggnog latte and come and join the party. We way more guests with Christmas tales to get you in the mood. Yay! Jason Leeds will really mess your head. A life-size house made out of gingerbread. Ioannis Pantelidis has a story that dumbfounds us. Chris Wills recounts a sordid tale you won't believe. We hope it's a fun way to wrap your year. Tales that help to bring you smiles and cheer. Lots of laughs and so much more fun. Thank God 2022's done. Welcome to our special Christmas show. Share the show with all the friends you know. Hello and welcome to the 2022 Ho 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 Hospitality Meets Christmas special with me, your host, Phil Street. We had to have a year off last year as, frankly, everything was open one minute and closed the next, and it was all just a little haywire. But this year, I've once again lined up an epic guest list with some more Christmas madness. And to help me on my merry little quest, I've once again roped in those legends, now of Otolo fame, Chris Fletcher and the king of Christmas himself, Kieron Christmas Bailey.
I feel that's exactly how I should be introduced everywhere I go for the next 3 weeks.
And for reference, Kieron hates Christmas.
Kieron despises Christmas.
Not a sense of irony at all in the fact that that's how I introduced him at all. Do I remember the last one is we talked about the fact that I think I was doing car insurance or something like that around Christmas time, and you had to put your car in for a service. It was just... yeah, it was really top-end Christmas stuff.
Ironically, my car is due an MOT any second now, so I think I will just be sliding it in the Christmas period, Phil.
Great. Well, we're not going to go down that route again.
Yeah, that's
okay. I mean, you saying that's not interesting and that's not festive, then okay, I will bow to your greater judgment.
Does your car have any tinsel in it? Then we can make it a Christmas story. No. There's a story about tinsel being somewhere else that we were talking about off the microphone earlier. But anyway.
Thank you, though, Phil. We're very proud to be back again. It's very nice of you.
Yeah, it's always appreciated. And spending quality time with Phil Street is always an absolute joy.
And if you had to have a background off, we've won.
We've won.
You can't see it if you're listening, but we've won.
frankly, you have the budget of a full office block behind you. I have the budget of a podcast that makes no money behind me. So, yes. But in any case, how's life anyway? What's going on in your world since
You've
the
got me
last time
thinking
we
about
did
budgets
this?
now, Phil. I don't. Why have you put the word budget into my head? Now I'm thinking about cash flow.
It's year end.
There is no flow. We are. Yeah, EXP is still alive. It's like on life support somewhere. We'll go back and find it once we've got time. But yeah, we're with. We managed to, when I say win, borrow a 1.9 million grant from the ESF.
I mean, we're offering fully funded training and development for everybody within the hospitality industry in the Greater London area.
Yeah, and training worldwide. We're doing, we're looking after some really exciting meetings we've had last week with different brands. So yeah, it's really cool. We're trying to kind of flip the way training is done, and I suppose L&D, if you want to call it that, in our own style. But the scary thing is we now have a team, which we didn't have before. So before it was just us two making things up. Now it's us two and 16 other people making things up. So it's great fun. Our team love it.
There's a lot being made up then.
Clear. Yes. No, we're professionals.
We are professionals 100% of the time, without doubt. Well, I mean, we haven't really said what Atolo does other than training. Obviously, Atolo is all about the mentoring. And Phil, you've had a mentor in your life, haven't you?
For sure. Many.
And what were the benefits? Short, short and snappy, 3 bullet points.
Knowledge that I didn't have, ways to respond that I didn't have in my armory before, and just general guidance when you need it the most.
He's good.
He's killed that, hasn't he?
It's good.
Yeah.
You should do a podcast.
That's a good idea.
So that's the joy. That's why we're in this, because mentoring is such an incredibly powerful thing and can have such a huge impact on the future careers of the next generation of leaders coming through the industry, and actually some of the existing leaders, to be fair, because we're all about reverse mentoring. Everybody thinks about older people like Chris being about 60, kind of mentoring young people and helping them on their journey. But actually, there are some folks out there who maybe 20, 25, around that age, who have got knowledge to share. We got one CEO who's learned all about TikTok through his reverse mentoring, which is quite a powerful thing. Of course, he's staying away from TikTok because still he's a problem on it. However, he understands the concept of it now just by having that conversation, having that relationship with somebody.
Very good. Anyway, I'm not going to make this about Atolo. We could do that another time, actually. We could totally do that another time.
Every opportunity we will try, but carry on.
Yes, indeed. We're here to celebrate Christmas.
Hurrah!
Way!
Such a wonderful time of year.
And the most wonderful time of the year. Why is no one else singing with me?
God.
Come on,
Kieron Bailey. Where's that voice been hiding?
It's a secret, Phil. I tried singing in a band once. It went really badly for me.
Yeah. That was death metal, though, right? Throating. Indeed. Anyway.
That'll come across really well on the podcast.
It's just something that's Kieron growling. Yeah.
So carry on.
Have the Grinch stolen your Christmas this year, Kieron? Or have you got any stories that you could share from your Christmas?
Well, I was actually just sharing one with somebody else about a Christmas gamble that I made. And I decided at one point to really embrace the spirit of Christmas and the idea of giving. So I took a big risk. I had a guy who'd got his bill, and it was about a £300 bill, to be fair. And he was a bit of a cheeky chappy. So we kind of had a bit of a chat. We're having a bit of a laugh, and I was like, "Dude, are you feeling lucky?" And he was looking at me. First of all, he was a bit worried that this like middle-aged, rotund man is asking me if he's feeling lucky. I don't think he went that way, Phil, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, he's like, yeah, I am feeling lucky. We'd got this table of about 15, 20 people of his family who'd all had this big Christmas lunch. And everyone was kind of at that kind of food coma stage where they were all just like, oh, done. I'm ready to go. But this guy was like, yes, he's in it. He's in it. So we did a gamble, and we did a flip of a coin. And I gave him best of 3 on whether I would pay his bill or whether he would pay his bill, and a 30% tip to the team, which felt reasonable to me. And I was feeling audacious at this point, particularly until just before I realised that his bill was, in fact, close to £300. I should have checked that before I made the gamble. Oh, indeed. But we did a full best of 3, flip the coin. There was a gang. It was just a gang of people. And I've got this overriding memory of people kind of wrapped up in tinsel and various different bits of kind of Christmassy stuff, just kind of bearing them. Like when you're a kid in the playground and there was a ruckus in the playground and everybody would kind of circle around you and it would be like, exactly, but in a slightly more positive and Christmassy way. And there's about 100 people in this restaurant, staff, guests, all just kind of leaning in by the time we got to the third flow. And this guy won. He was like, yeah, I ended up paying his bill because he won the third flip. And I was like, boom, happy days for you. Then I was devastated that I was picking up his bill. But you know what? It felt like a good thing to do. It felt like a right thing to do.
It's Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. And ironically, the guy stood next to me was one of my deputy managers, lovely Nepalese boy, who decided that actually his outfit for the day would be Santa. So as I was kind of doing this gamble,
You were really giving.
I was really giving, to be honest with you, which is unlike me. And Santa was just giving him a big hug because he'd celebrated his winter Christmas.
What is Happy Christmas in Nepalese?
Genuinely, I do not know. I'll Google that while you're talking.
We should find out.
We should do that.
It's a great story, Kieron. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, I feel like you've just doing some stuff.
I love how Chris was trying to wrap you up since the moment you just started your story.
Literally, as soon as I started talking, wasn't it?
Yeah,
just
yeah.
For those who
absolutely.
can't see.
He's like, it's almost like, I've got a story.
Let me talk. I want to be heard.
Where there's other people coming to our house today to have a party.
All right, then, crack on.
Yeah. Well, I think there's somebody at the door. I'm just going to let them in. Indeed. So who do we have at the door? And he's probably not going to be at his desk now. Hey!
Mark's like, what the hell have I?
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm loving the hat.
Yeah. Well, it's Christmas.
I don't know. Very good.
Chris was just about to tell us a story, but before he does that, just tell everybody who you are and where you are, Mark.
So I'm calling in from Dubai, and my name is Mark Kirby, the head of hospitality for the Emo Hospitality Group.
Welcome,
yes,
Mark.
and
Mark,
rugby playing extraordinaire, from what I can see on your Instagram page.
A little bit, just a bit.
Yeah,
we had the rugby sevens. We had the rugby sevens weekend this last weekend, so that was quite full on here in Dubai.
very good. Yeah, as it were. But anyway, that's not Christmas. So, Chris, off you go with your story. Mark, you'll have to endure this. You very kindly have arrived early.
I'm more than happy to. You let me in.
Would you like a Christmas vol-au-vent?
No, I'm fine. Carry on.
That was a resounding no.
No.
Take your olive on and put it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. So, yes, Chris.
Yes.
You've been itching to tell this story. I'm going to keep interrupting you so you can never actually
carry
get
on.
it out.
That'll be fine. This is called the Unwanted House Guest.
Is that what your mum called you?
Stop it. I was running a restaurant in Leeds. I think it was Ask on Greek Street back in someone's nodding. Mark's nodding. You know it, Mark. But I was running a restaurant on Greek Street back in the day, and we were a bit short on staff towards Christmas, so I hired a lovely girl called Jill. I'm going to call her Jill just in case she hears this. And
for legal reasons.
We were 2 weeks. Yeah, for legal reasons. We were 2 weeks out from getting away, and she's great. Scouser, that's why I hired her, because I'm also from there, and we just kind of hit it off really quick, and she was really high energy and great fun. And then we got to, I suppose, 3 or 4 days before Christmas, and as the GM does, I decided to go home and let the guys finish off. So I said, in my rucksack, said, bye, guys, I'm going home for Christmas. Have a great time. And then Jill rocks up and says, where are you going? I said, I'm going home. And she went, oh, where? Liverpool. And I was like, yeah. She goes, me too. She was in a uniform at the time. I was thinking, that's a bit strange because you're here. So she disappeared, came back with a rucksack, changed, no case or anything, just her bag. I was like, okay. She goes, let's go. So off we went. And I just said on the way out, I said, aren't you working the rest of Christmas? Because that's why I hired you. She went, no, I've swapped it all. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. So off we went to the station, had a few drinks on the train back to Lime Street, got off at Lime Street. My dad pulled up to pick me up. I was saying to her, I said, well, bye, Jill. Have a great Christmas. Don't really know you, but have a great time. And my dad said, oh, do you want a lift? And she was like, oh, yeah, I'd love a lift. And I was like, okay. He goes, where do you live? She goes, oh, by Chris. And he said, oh, right, on the Wirral then. And she's like, yeah, on the Wirral. So she got in the car and we drove back, and we're all having fun in the car, chatting. We've had a few beers, so we're quite merry. Not my dad, he's driving. That's legal. And my dad just says, oh, why don't you come in and have a drink and meet Chris's mum and the family? And she's like, oh, I'd love that. And I was like, okay, it's still a bit weird. Let's do it. So she comes in, we're chatting away, and she meets my mum, and my mum's very friendly to everybody. Any strays, waifs or strays, she's happy to have them in the house. And and then she just turns around at the dinner table and says, oh, my mum and dad have gone on holiday. And I was like, okay, why is this my problem? And she's like, oh, because I've got nowhere to stay. And I was like, oh, okay. And then my mum just literally in an instant said, stay here. Just stay here. And I was thinking, Mum. Anyway, so at this point, my mum doesn't know that I only just hired this girl 2 weeks ago. So she ends up staying the night, and which is all very odd. I run in the kitchen after she went to go and settle herself down for the night and said to Mum, what are you doing? And she's like, what? Isn't it your girlfriend? I went, no, I don't even know her. I hired her 2 weeks ago. She got in the car. She goes, well, why is she here? I went, Dad brought her here. It's nothing to do with me. So anyway, so she stayed the night. Next day she got up, and it was all getting a bit odd. And I kind of sat there, and she said, what are we doing today? And I was like, I don't know. I was kind of hoping for you to say you were leaving, but she didn't. And she kind of knocked around for the day. And then just towards the end of the day, she was really transfixed on her phone and getting messages and whatnot. And I don't know what was going on, but she suddenly just grabbed a bag and went, right, I'm okay. I've got to go. And we were like, okay. So she left, a car picked her up and she disappeared and she never came back to work. I never saw her again. She is alive. She's on Facebook. I watch her daily just to be sure she's not watching me. But yeah, that was Jill. And Jill, wherever you are, I hope you enjoyed the mince pies and the mulled, but never call me again.
I mean, can we just unpeel a few points from within that story? I mean, I'm going to, first of all, your leadership example, where it gets to Christmas, 2 days before Christmas, and Chris has left his team to it, and he's gone home to go and have a good time with his family. Shocking leadership, questionable.
It's this delegation.
Yes, for sure. You've employed this girl who's clearly a bit random.
A Scouser.
Just because she's Scouse, yeah, fair dues.
That was my hiring policy back in the day.
No, I mean, it was clearly successful for you because you ended up with a weirdo living in your mom's living room.
No. It was it was a fun time. But once you've reached the pinnacle of GM, you can do what you want, right?
Yeah. Do you want me to edit that out, Chris?
No, keep it in.
It's not the first time you said it.
All the GMs listening, pick your own rota. Anyway,
Indeed.
yeah, that was my story.
Absolutely. Well, no, very good. Very good. I think it's definitely better than, is it better than your last one? Last one involved the police.
Oh, was that the Blue Planet Aquarium story?
Yes,
I believe so.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yeah, but I really edited that down. That was really.
I'm going to give him a solid 7 on that story. I'll be honest with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The last one involved police and stuff. Yeah, it wasn't good.
Yeah, that was definitely a 10. That one.
It was a very good story, but one for probably not on air.
Yes, for sure. Certainly the full version.
Yes,
indeed. Well, Mark, as you're the only guest in the house at the moment, do you want to just go with your story?
Well, I can do it, but I'm rather jealous because the background before was much better than my background, quite frankly, right now.
Oh, don't encourage them.
To be fair, though, Mark, you're in Dubai with the sunshine, and we're in central London where it's cold and bleak.
In a room full of table tennis tables that you can't see. This is actually the games room in our office.
Oh, obviously you chose the right corner to be in then.
Yeah, it's the only corner you would be in, but yeah.
Right. I should have chosen something a bit more fun. Anyway, no, I'm out here in Dubai, and I've been out here 16 years now. But when I first came out here, I escaped all of the the Christmas stuff that comes on at this time of the year to my relief. And I thought that's what I thought it would be. I thought I'd be out here, a little bit of beach, nice sunny weather, enjoying myself, and not having to worry about, mince pies and Christmas trees and Santa Claus. Did I get it wrong? Because I actually joined a resort that was, and I won't mention the resort, but I joined one of the prestigious.
I know the resort
here. He knows the resort, but I tell you what, at Christmas time, they actually have the biggest Christmas trees you've ever seen in your life, bigger than practically Trafalgar Square. And, the resort is all absolutely... No, absolutely. This is Dubai after all. But, we absolutely, decorated the resort. We had the full activity program. Probably about 80% of the guests are from the UK, so they're expecting everything from, the turkey and everything else. So, obviously you're entertaining up to about 300 kids at Christmas time. So we've got the full activity program on. And the big event of the year is always going to be how Santa Claus arrives in the resort. And we've done multiple things before with, open top Ferraris. And we thought that this year, let's do a little bit more traditional and let's bring Santa in a pretty much a cultural way, but with a modern twist to it. So we got organized, we got planning, and we thought it would be all pretty cool to actually have Santa Claus coming in on a parasail behind a boat, so that all the kids could follow him along the beach and see him going up and down the parasail. So we had a really great recreation guy at the time who was into all sorts of sports, and he was a bit of a crazy guy. So we put him on the back of the parasail in a Santa Claus outfit, and off he went down the beach. It was all going very well. So all the kids are saying, "Oh, Santa Claus is coming in," and we saw Santa Claus is going around on the parasail, brings him in further down the beach. So we thought, right, we have to swap him out now because we have to then bring him down to the kids' level. You can't get him off the parasail onto the beach just like that. So we had the dummy Santa, the next Santa Claus was ready and waiting behind brassy fencing on the back of a camel. So off the boat disappears into the distance, and then the second Santa Claus comes in on his camel down the beach. So we're like, right, this is really working, and we're loving this whole story. So along comes camel, along comes Santa Claus, and we bring him in, and he's full of his bags, and he comes up into the resort, and all the kids are screaming and running behind the camel as we sort of take it into its main position where we're going to offload Santa, and then he can start to give out gifts and stuff. And, you know, typical British parents, you know, they're loving all of this. They're seeing the kids enjoying themselves. I can hear at the corner of my ear one of the fathers grumbling along saying, yeah, but you know what? The Santa Claus was white on the parasail, and this Santa Claus has got brown skin. So, and I'm like going, and I'm sitting there going, well, shut up. This is Christmas. The kids are enjoying it. In my mind, I'm thinking 5-star resort. I will try not to swear at the guest and tell him just to shut his mouth, you know. And I'm just thinking, you know, we do things to such a great level, but, you know, actually thinking that, you know, okay, white to brown, does it really matter? Absolutely not. But, you know,
he was parasailing. He flew close to the sun.
Exactly, yeah. But the level of detail you go to, and then one of the parents has to actually pick out the fact that, you know, you've changed over Santa. I just thought it was absolutely a blinder what to do.
Fantastic. Well, so welcome to the world of 5-star. You can do everything that you can resort to make something spectacular, and somebody will always find the fact that you're
usually, and I can say it because I'm British, but it's always the British that like to point out certain, you know, aspects where you've slightly gone, you know, not quite right.
I like the Santa though. I mean, the worst thing about that story is that there are in fact 2 Santas, which made me really sad. I only thought there was one. So
yeah, well, don't let it out there. Please don't tell anyone.
Brother, mate.
That's it. I can't put this podcast out in the public domain. No. I think a lot of the guests are running late. Is there a train strike on or something like that today?
I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, Mark, if you are in need of a Santa for the future, I mean, whilst, yes, we've already acknowledged the fact I'm a bit of a Christmas Grinch, I'm a fat lad with a beard who wouldn't mind a trip to Dubai. So if you find yourself thinking, you know what?
You mean all expenses paid, flights, Emirates?
Yeah, you can call him Council Santa.
Council Estate Santa, classy. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that's 5-star enough for him, if I'm honest with you, but
he'd probably accept economy though, Mark.
What?
Okay, well, I might just make it happen then.
I would not accept economy, FYI.
Yes.
I'm more than that, Phil. I will not have that.
Very good. Yes. Well, I don't know where our guests are, but anyway, thank you very much, Mark. You're welcome to stay for the party, which is going off big style at the moment.
That's very kind of you, but I will excuse myself. I just, you know, it's nice to see you.
Yes, you too.
Good to see that you've actually got the hat on there. I've got an awful, filthy cold from the rugby sevens.
I was going to say, you sound a little bit rough, but I didn't want to say that.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, enjoy the party. You sound rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely to meet you, Mark.
Nice to meet you, Mark. Happy Christmas.
Nice to meet you too. Have a good time. Yeah.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. Cheers, Mark.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
What about your Christmas story, Phil? What have you got to tell us?
Tell us a story, Phil.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, can't have a Christmas special without a story about poo, right? That was what's what I introduced from the last Christmas special that we did.
Were you poo last time as well?
I didn't have a poo story last time, but everybody's got a poo story.
Wasn't that Kate Nichols?
No, it was that lovely lady. It was the Scouser. It was Kelly Rickson.
It was Kelly Rickson, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. It was Hayley Connor.
Oh yes, it was Hayley.
Oh, is that the door? Hi, Mitch. Welcome to the party.
Good morning.
I'm just about to regale a tale about poo, so you're coming at exactly the right time.
About poo?
About poo, yes. Yes.
He's like, I was told I was coming on a Christmas podcast, God damn it.
Yes. I could sense him going out. Sorry, I'm sure you said poo then, but you could have, yeah. But when I worked on the cruise ships, I had a stint as night manager, which frankly is the greatest job known to man on a cruise ship. If you want to see life happen, being on nights in an environment where nobody can get off and do anything is quite an eye-opener. But anyway, in amongst all of the stories, at Christmas time, this is exactly what I wanted. It was Christmas Eve. This has actually happened on Christmas Eve. And the reason I remember this is because it was my father-in-law that told me this story back to me on our wedding day, not his and I wedding day, his daughter. And it was all around the fact that his first meeting with me was me explaining to him that I had to go and deal with something, as he puts it, unmentionable. Now, that unmentionable was I'd had a report that in the ladies' toilet, somebody had had a poo in the middle of the ladies' toilet.
Oh.
Yeah, and it wasn't such a. I'm not going to go into too much depth on this. I don't think that's probably a way to clear out some listeners, but it wasn't the sort of poo that you would consider, I didn't quite make it. It was fully formed. And so that was Christmas Eve, 2000. I told you it's a filler story. Still waiting on all the guests to arrive.
Filling what, Phil? What are you filling? Jesus.
Yeah. Anyway, Mitchell, hi. We're Chris and Kieran.
We'll edit that bit out, Mitchell. Don't worry about it.
I was going to say, Phil, I had a better expectations for your poo story, but
great. Well, I'm now the outcast at my own party.
I mean, there was a moment when I was thinking, are we talking about Winnie the Pooh here?
Well, you and I have history with Winnie the Pooh.
We do.
Indeed.
Hang on.
Yep.
Let's just wind that back. Let's do it.
There's not much to this. There was a line in the when Mitch came on the show. There was a line around the fact that we both had aspirations to get Raymond Blanc into a Winnie the Pooh outfit. That's basically.
Yeah. That's really precise.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Well, Mitch used to work at Le Manoir, but perhaps. Mitch, why don't you regale us with your story?
Why don't you save this podcast, Mitch?
Please, Mitchell, save it.
Well, basically, it was the fact that Raymond Blanc used to get dressed up for the Christmas parties and used to come with, really like French musketeer outfits with feathers, and he did a pretty good job with it. Now, I described working at Le Manoir like working at Disneyland for adults, in a sense that the Magic Kingdom of Disney World for children is this awe-inspiring, the children arrive, it's all magic, and, it's a very special place for children. And I described Le Manoir as being the equivalent to adults. They arrive, they're already in awe, they're already amazed, they're already, they feel the magic. And I said, it does, though, set an expectation, because if something tiny goes wrong, the whole magic is ruined, and the illusion of what we were there to do is ruined. This
feels like a really wonderful setup, Mitch.
The one element, though, that we're missing were the characters. And I said, I'll probably be Peter Pan. And I think then Phil said that he was then really keen to see Raymond Blanc dress up as Winnie the Pooh to be there to greet the guests at Le Manoir. And I said, you know what, I could possibly wing that and get him to do it, because it is probably something that he would do for a Christmas party. But I since then left, and I don't really have the connections. I mean, I still got his number. I might drop him a text and ask how he's doing and would he fancy.
Yeah, I mean, you should. There's a conversation starter waiting to happen before you go in with, will you dress up Winnie the Pooh for me, please?
Straight in. Raymond, I hope you're having a great festive period. I hope the Christmas Carol concerts have gone great. Is there any chance you'll dress up as Winnie the Pooh for me?
And video it for me, please.
I reckon his answer would be absolutely yes. Absolutely yes.
Petit, why do I need to do this?
God, it's in the room then.
Is he here?
That was remarkable, wasn't it? How long did you work for him? Because I feel like you've really just drawn him into you there. That was like...
I worked long enough for Raymond Blanc that I was no longer called Mon Petit, which is what he calls everybody. And then I was actually called Michel. Funny story as well, actually, working with French people is I've recently started recruiting from a Swiss French-speaking hotel school. And they have recently changed their job platform. Not Glion.
No. Other schools do exist.
Yeah, they do. They're from EHL, actually. But I do have an intern from Glion, and I'm going to Glion tomorrow, actually, to do a guest lecture. But no, so they moved our job advert from their old platform to their new platform just recently. Now, my surname is Collier. Now, when I first joined Phil's first podcast, he did it very, very exquisite when he was Collier, and I was like, it's not quite as glamorous as it sounds. It is a traditional miner's name, actually. It's from the Midlands. And they translated my job advert from Mitchell Collier, People Operations Manager, to Mitchell Necklace, People Operations Manager.
Is that what it means?
Collier in French is necklace. So my email address
your first
has been
name's
translated.
Not Pearl.
Oh, Chris.
That was genuinely funny. Well, thank Christopher.
That was a good one. So I then had to reach out to this hotel school and say, hey, would you mind actually correcting the translation that you've done on this new platform? My surname isn't Necklace, it's actually Collier, which is an English surname, and not Necklace.
Very good. Yes. And that happened at Christmas, I assume, yeah? Yeah, just say yes.
Is that my Christmas story?
Yeah.
No, my Christmas story is about an undisclosed location
I think there's somebody at the door. Well, I did admit them, but they've run away. Somebody did knock and run away.
Knock and run.
There we are.
Unbelievable. A digital knock and run.
Yeah, wow, it happened.
Carry on with your Christmas story.
Knock it or run. A virtual knock it or run.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Yes. Anyway, go with your story, Mitch.
So I was saying, a hotel that I used to work at, I've worked at a numerous amount of different hotels, so I won't disclose which one it was. But the guests on Christmas, we used to get the same guests. I'm not telling you. The guests used to come every year, the same ones. And one year, we recently changed our PMS, our property management system, from one system to another. And we changed the booking policy. Originally, it used to be no more than 12 months ahead. So the Christmas guests that used to stay used to get kind of advanced booking ability. So then they'd request their rooms they'd always have. And one year, we forgot to turn it off. We didn't turn it off when we changed the PMS. And we weren't then able to offer the guests their rooms that they always normally have. So we literally had a mutiny of guests in one of the lounges where all of the guests congregated in the lounge and were talking about how they're going to overthrow the booking system and just rock up next year, expecting to be given their rooms. Now, you can imagine from a hotel perspective, we're outnumbered by these guests. If they want to take us on.
Hotel in France, Mitchell? Because they love a revolution.
No comment. And I have never actually been terrified of guests before until this point, where I had literally families within the reception area demanding that we cancel these other people or they'll never step foot in the hotel again if we don't let them have their rooms again next year. You can imagine me, this is like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. I'm trying to stay festive. I'm trying to be merry. And I've literally got a reception full of guests rising up in a revolution about overthrowing the hotel and demanding that we cancel these other guests because they don't have the right to book their rooms because it's their rooms for Christmas.
Is that what's known as a hotel coup?
It was a hotel coup. Yeah. I've never experienced one before, never experienced one since, and I was genuinely terrified.
Did they get their rooms? Did you fold?
I think some of them got rooms that they
really
we compromised and we upgraded and we moved around and someone got a suite if they, even if they weren't paying for it kind of thing. So it was a challenge, but we did it.
Which was just giving me an idea.
Next time we're at the Premier Inn, that's what we're going to do.
Or the house tonight.
But let me just clarify though, we're talking about 40 or 50 guests in the reception area on Christmas Day, Boxing Day, banging on the desk. I'm sat there like trying to get hold of somebody to say,
just have a mince pie and calm down.
The guests are revolting.
Yeah, they absolutely were as well, weren't they? Yeah.
In so many ways.
Yeah.
So that was my festive Christmas story about guests.
The PTSD.
I mean, I know I hate Christmas now. I just think back to that day every time.
Welcome to the show,
all these guests.
Yeah,
You're with Kieran, also hates Christmas. I love it.
But since then, I've had some wonderful, fabulous Christmas experiences in hotels. We invited a competitor hotel across the road over for Christmas lunch because their staff food was chili con carne on Christmas Day. And I said, not happening. You can come over. We invited all of their staff over to our hotel and they had, turkeys and all the trimmings for their Christmas lunch.
Did you have a game of football afterwards as well, Mitchell, as part of the truce?
For the sake of a story, let's say yes, we did.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
It was FIFA.
Yeah, we got the games consoles out and we played a bit of FIFA and Fortnite. Other games are available.
Yes, very good. And I like what you did there as well. You came in with a negative story, let's say, and then just rounded it off with a warm and fuzzy Christmas feeling.
Unlike you,
the festive spirit came in and we invited a whole bunch of hotel people from a competitor hotel over and had Christmas lunch with them.
Fantastic.
See, that is a beautiful thing. That's the power of hospitality. You know what I mean? We put our differences to one side and we draw our friends.
I'm not letting them have chili con carne on Christmas Day. You're having a laugh.
To be fair though, Mitchell, I will be having pizza for Christmas lunch. Just so if you
do you want to come over to the hotel and we get turkey and trimmings?
That was the whole reason he just said I'm having pizza, isn't it? It's like
yeah. You reeled it out there. I took the bait, and now I've got you all for Christmas.
And he's already booked this.
I mean, I would say just be ready. I'm coming.
Nice one.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
You're very, very welcome. You're welcome to stick around and enjoy the party. I have Christmas vol-au-vents which nobody seems to want. So, or you're free to go.
It's very tempting, Phil, and but I do have some deliverables to do before the end of the year.
Deliverables.
So, yeah, deliverables.
I wish our team were that focused on the deliverables. I'll be honest with you.
More care about Deliveroo.
They really do.
Yeah, it's a shame I can't get these deliverables on Deliveroo. It would save me some stress at the moment.
Have a Merry Christmas, mate. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you all on Christmas Day in the hotel, queuing up for the turkey.
Yeah, just drop your address in the email, and we'll be there.
Will do.
Love to
Take care. Great to speak
Merry
to you.
Christmas, Rich. Cheers.
Merry Christmas. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, and there's somebody at the door.
Oh, my voice.
Hello.
Янnis.
Hello.
Янnis, have you got security detail with you? You literally look like you're protecting someone.
I will have to use my little, what the men in black call, my little Christmas forget-me-not thingy. No, I'm actually, what happened is I brought all my gear with me. I had a wonderful Christmas hat with little white, what do you call them, the little Danish girl type.
Balls.
Yeah. I was going to look wonderful.
Balls.
But we've been moving. I'm in Cyprus. We're doing some validations with some colleges and moving from one building to the next. I did warn them I was going to take a break for 10 minutes because I owe Phil, and now Phil owes me. In the Christmas spirit of giving gifts, here's my gift to you, Phil.
Are you going to get your ukulele out again, Янnis?
Well, this is the thing, because I'm not home. The sun out there is shining, and these are, believe it or not, are also prescription glasses. So if I'm not wearing them, I cannot see you, which could be a good thing. I'm only kidding.
Whoa. To be fair, Jane has just jumped on the call, and she's definitely kind of lifted the glamour, as she always does. There's no getting around it.
Yeah,
yes. Although I'm not even sure she can hear us at the moment. But
she can't. But it's a reality.
Jane, are you there? No, she's not there.
Not there.
Chris,
I'm here.
Oh, you are. Can you hear us, Chris?
Yes, I can. Hi.
Excellent. Yes, we've had an influx at the party at last.
Nice.
Yeah, we've had a couple of people not actually make it. As I was saying, it's probably the train strikes. But Chris, I think you were up next.
No problem.
Do you want to, tell the world who you are and then crack on with your story?
Thank you, Phil. I am Chris Wills. I am the Chief Executive of Collier Hotels here in sunny Scotland today. I'm actually joining the party digitally from Nairn today at our wonderful Golf View Hotel, which is nice. So, my story, this Phil, is a story. It's a Christmas story that's decades old. In fact, I would caveat that to start off with. And it is literally from the tales of the ghost of Christmas past, shall we say. So I was working in a hotel.
Well practiced, Chris. I'm already excited.
I was working in a hotel which, for legal reasons, shall remain unnamed. In a city that
aren't they? Like Mitch was the same as well before,
and Mark as well.
Mark.
It's a hotel and a city that shall remain unnamed. And I was running a Christmas party for a large company, which should probably also remain unnamed. So at the Christmas party,
got a right load of detail and context that really just embedding it. I'll be honest with you.
We're slowly getting there. So at the Christmas party, I knew who the senior people in the company were, and the party went well. No issues at all. Wham's Last Christmas on repeat and silver service turkey in complete abundance. So we ticked every box. Every box was ticked. But around 10:30 that night, I observed a senior, relatively mature director of said company making his way upstairs with a junior, younger, attractive female colleague.
Uh-oh.
Now, I don't think they were heading upstairs to discuss the merits of the office Secret Santa, but all discreet hoteliers know that one must, of course, never judge, and I wish the pair of them in my mind a Merry Christmas and a full stocking. We skip forward in my slightly sordid tale to approaching the end of my duty management shift. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was at reception and I observed a chauffeur-driven car arrive at the front of the hotel with a very glamorous older lady with the door open for her. And this very glamorous older lady made her way to the hotel reception, where she very politely asked our reception team for the room number of her husband.
Oh, God.
I fortunately made the connection that her husband was indeed the gentleman I had seen making his way upstairs with the junior colleague. Now, it, of course, did cross my mind that the senior director and his junior colleague were potentially discussing the merits of whether the bounty should be removed from the box of celebrations. But I thought there was a strong possibility that they might be indulged in a more adult festive activity, shall we say. So I did the correct thing. Potentially. Yeah. So I did the correct thing, and I telephoned the gentleman's room to announce the guest and seek his permission to give his wife his room number and also give her access to the lift. When I called the room, he made a sound, slightly high-pitched squealing, that would probably only be recognized by a fairly intuitive reindeer, I think it would be fair to say, as some form of guidance. But I very slowly and in a considered way tapped at the reception computer, telling her, his wife, that he was in room 521 and gave her access to the lift as she made her way upstairs. I thought nothing else of it and hoped that no festive upset had been caused because, frankly, the ghost of Christmas future looked like it could deliver a fairly expensive divorce. But one of the last tasks in this particular hotel for a duty manager to perform was, in fact, a floor walk for fire safety. And at about 2 o'clock in the morning, I was walking from floor to floor, checking fire exits. And we had some settees in the lift lobbies of this hotel on the floors. As I stumbled upon said junior female colleague asleep naked on one of the settees in the corridor. Now, she was doing a tremendous impression of the baby Jesus, literally not wearing a stitch, curled up in a little ball asleep on a settee. She had perhaps, I assumed, been hastily ejected from the room that she was in for her, shall we say, Christmas debriefing. So I used my radio walkie-talkie, which does date my conversation slightly, but I used my radio walkie-talkie and asked for a female colleague and a blanket and averted my gaze for a time. So with the assistance of our team, she was put back to her room that she was actually meant to be sleeping in. But there was a twist in the tale, as is often the case at this time of year. The next morning at around 11 a.m. at checkout time, she presented herself at reception looking for certain items of lost property. And I was called by the reception team because actually I was back at work for a Christmas lunch and they were aware that I'd been involved in, shall we say, the incident. And I went to speak to her. She didn't recognize me from the night before. But the fact that struck me was that she was, in fact, only looking for a sparkly party dress and a pair of party shoes. And the devil in me did insist on saying, "Did you lose anything else?" And she very, very purposely said, "No, I was just wearing just a dress and a pair of party shoes," that she had in fact lost in the room that perhaps she wasn't meant to be in, which obviously caused a bit of confusion because the room was in fact over a flat roof. If the gentleman had thrown the belongings out of the window, as he perhaps invited her to leave his room, we'd never found them. Housekeeping never found them. So I could have only concluded that in fact he did put her missing items in his own suitcase to take them home to perhaps return to her in some type of walk of shame style in the new year. But everyone left happy and we had a jolly nice Christmas. And that is the end of my slightly sordid festive tale.
My word. And
festive
very well.
Are always, the good ones are always a little bit sordid, I think, to be fair.
A little bit seedy, I'm afraid.
And no divorce?
Yes. Not that I ever got called as a witness for, no.
Right.
So, which was
How many times have you had people come into lost property looking for dignity?
Well, that's line of the day.
It was a little bit like that. It really was. But yeah.
What's the name of the gentleman, Rudolph?
Not sure if he had a red nose, but yeah, I never saw him leave, which was the other interesting thing. But she certainly was fairly brazen. Fairly brazen about her request for her sparkly shoes and her dress. Yes, but this is absolutely decades ago, but it was certainly quite certainly forms the opinion of a young junior manager at the time, I can tell you.
Yeah. And so, if you never saw him left, do we have to escalate this from a divorce to a murder case?
Yeah,
murder.
At
well,
Christmas.
In fact, it's there's been a murder, as they say. But,
very good, fantastic, nice one. You're very welcome to stick around. I've been trying to shift these Christmas vol-au-vents, but nobody wants one. You're welcome to stick around, or you're also welcome to scootle off.
I'm going to have to drive from sunny Nairn to sunny Edinburgh, unfortunately, for a tourism industry dinner that I must attend this evening. But so I will take my purple quality street that you undoubtedly saved for me as the best one in the box, and wish you all a very Merry Christmas.
I've got all the
boundaries.
boundaries.
It's a beautiful spot. You're a very lucky man. It's a beautiful place.
I am
used to have
indeed.
a head chef from there, and he was a hell of a dude, hell of a chap.
there's some great people up here. It's it's just good people to work with, and we have a little. It is that time of year where you're sort of begrudgingly invited to many festive events and opportunities to chat with people. So, which is part of the pleasure, I suppose. We get to enjoy ourselves and see some other people. And I think I'm on turkey dinner number 6, and it's only the 6th of December, so probably gives you an idea. So. Thank you very much. Lovely to see you all. Merry Christmas to all.
Yeah, and congrats on all the work you're doing for Scotland, by the way, in terms of raising its profile in Parliament and the like. I mean, in hospitality, by the way, guys, not just generally.
Freedom!
Yeah, no, we're really fortunate up here, and we've got good collaboration between different parties in the agency. So, yeah, it's a really positive time to be up here.
Nice.
Good. Man. Thanks, Phil. Catch you soon. Nice to meet you all.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ioannis just shout freedom.
You will never take.
He did.
Do you want me to go? Because I have to go.
Got to go and do a security detail.
Yeah.
Shall I put my
right back in the mix?
If I look close enough, I can actually see you. Right. This takes us back. Am I supposed to put a Scottish accent now?
Yes, please.
Oh, yes.
Let me find the Sean Connery in me. Right, lads. It's the year 2000. I'm going to drop the Scottish accent because it sounds something like...
I was going to say, you couldn't find the Scottish accent then.
Anyway, we're going back to the Millennium Bag times, right? I, of course, now have long flowing hair. 2000, no, I didn't have any. I lost my hair before that. Anyway, the media are going on and on about the Millennium Bag. I've got my sister from Australia calling me, telling me, have you stocked up with water and food in your fridge? Because it's the end of the world. So
she really bought into Y2K, didn't she?
Yeah. Well, I didn't. My family did.
Well, you're a sensible man.
The devastation is going to be caused by the bag and everything else. So on the one hand, everybody's stocking up on food and water and what have you. I'm a young lad and I don't care much about that, and I'm too busy with the hotel work. So the hoteliers in London, I did say the city now because it's important. It's a microcosm over there, and they're expecting fully booked hotels. Okay, crazy beverage revenues because of the parties. I have no idea why they thought of this, and they put pretty much every hotel I can remember put rack rates, maximum legal they could charge, and they overpriced all the big events. I have no idea why they misinterpreted what would happen by the public. Because the public was still scared of the Millennium Bag, and the media was doing all their fear-mongering as they do. So it was certain that guests were going to stay at their homes rather than risk it and come into big cities in hotels. All of us who worked on the ground could see it. We could see the signals. Management, directors thought otherwise. So at the time, I was a reservations manager for a hotel chain that will not be named. I'll continue the trend. Again.
Somebody name a name, please.
A number of London-based hotels, of course. And my job is I'm advertising packages that were comprised of premium, 5-star hotel rooms, top theater tickets, champagne, chocolate, the rest of it. And because of the Millennium, we had parties as well. So as the months progressed closer to the Millennium, reservations were really slowing down, completely dead, beyond the hopes of the directors of the company. So we now have to start moving all the guest reservations from all those hotels to 1 or 2 properties. And we're giving, in the spirit of Christmas, we're giving days off to staff from all those properties, which is fantastic for the staff. But imagine now moving a large number of reservations from multiple hotels into 1 or 2 properties. How many suites does one hotel have compared to, say, 10 or 15? We had a lot of reservations. I was doing premium packages. So for a lot of staff, it was their first ever Christmas holiday, which was a good thing. But for us, it meant huge headaches beyond what we could imagine. So here we are with limited number of suites, trying to fit everybody. We tried to move some of the junior suites into larger rooms. But of course, you can imagine what happened when the guests who went to see those rooms and they compared to what they originally paid for, they have the insult to injury where somebody in operations at the hotels that had remained open had the great idea of reducing the Christmas party event to half price and put notes and posters everywhere in the hotel. So the original customers who booked months in advance, now we're going down there and seeing that others are paying half the money they paid for. Anyway, long story short, I had to spend the post-Christmas period. I had no Christmas that year, but the post-Christmas period was worse, resolving huge number of complaints. But within all this, here comes the Christmas period. One complaint letter, one particular one, got me by surprise, even back in 2000, because it was the most beautiful handwritten letter from an elderly lady describing her adventures. And she had such a wonderful way of describing the events that by the end of reading that letter, I had to call her personally and give her not only a full refund, but I gave her an extra free long weekend in one of our best suites at our best hotels, best theater tickets. I think it was the early days of The Lion King back then. It was one of the top shows, one of the most expensive ones, all expenses paid by us. That turned her into a loyal customer for years. And she wrote me and my team a wonderful handwritten letter, again, in this beautiful calligraphic way of hers. And to this day, I still hold this letter in my folder with all my degrees and certificates. And you made me realize, Phil, when I recounted this story, that that was the time where I shifted from industry. My thoughts were, you know what, I had enough. I'm going to shift into academia. So to this day, I still have this letter, and to me is as an important certificate as my PhD. Merry Christmas.
That's a beautiful thing.
I'm going to write a letter to Spence.
Yeah,
in beautiful handwriting, get a free night.
I don't think that's going to qualify my PhD. Getting a letter from you, but let's see how we get on.
We'll both send you one, Spence. It'll be fine. We'll get you there.
Go on, let's do it.
Nice one, Ioannis. Yeah,
just pictures.
Keep in your head when all those around you are losing their marbles. I was going to say something else there, but anyway.
It's an interesting.
We're worried about the language you're going to use on the call.
Do you know what? Yeah, no, not at all. I'd probably, now that you're here, for sure. Let's just half an hour of just beep. Anyway,
it can be done.
No, thank you so much, Ioannis. If you need to jump off and get back to you, as Chris says, your security detail.
I shall. We have a couple of aliens to organize a Christmas party with. Merry Christmas. Goodbye.
Merry Christmas.
Ioannis. Lovely to see you.
Again. Right, Jane. Sorry, Paul. We've been trying to get Jane to tell her story since about 11:30.
Sorry, can you hear me?
I want to go and get
now?
Last Wednesday. About 11:30 last Wednesday, it feels like.
I'm borrowing an office and the Wi-Fi is terrible, but I've just gone and tortured them into giving me some other code. And I think
that poor man who came to the door and went back again. Is he okay?
He wept slightly.
No, he's crying.
There was a tear in his eyes. I could see it. Right.
I also love the fact that most people borrow like a kettle or something like that, and you borrow an office.
You're so grand.
Not really. I just know a lot of people like all of you, you know.
Yeah.
We've borrowed a table tennis room, but yeah.
Anyway,
do you want me to tell this story?
Yes, do it. Let's do it. Because you're probably already late for your next meeting, but anyway.
Whatever. It's fine. So when I came out of hotels, and because I got married and I thought, oh, I'm going to leave hotels now. I'm going to go and work in contract catering because maybe the hours will be a bit better. Moved to London, got a job running the catering in a massive Scandinavian bank. Loads of money, wine cellar like you've never seen, fantastic, a whole suite of directors' dining rooms, gorgeous, you know, no budget. They were, you know, they'd order a box of artichokes just to get 4 artichoke bottoms. You know, it was quite ridiculous. Anyway, back in the day, and I used to have this really, really demanding client who, you know, I'm a pretty organized person and I used to try and organize everything beautifully. And then we'd just get all these, you know, last minute requests. And obviously you just have to do it, don't you? Because these are directors of a huge bank and they're all hugely powerful. A bit like we need a dozen lobster picnics to go to Lord's by lunchtime, phone call at 9 o'clock on a Monday. One of those, you know. Anyway, so when Christmas, when Christmas is coming up,
just this week,
I sat down there you go. I sat down with my client and said, right, this is 1st of September. So, you know, we've got 3 months now to plan everything. Let's go through absolutely everything. We want it to be perfect. And I did say to her, look, you know, it'd be really great not to get any last minute requests because it's Christmas and chefs are up against it. Anyway, the day before everything's supposed to kick off for the Christmas celebration, she rings down and says, I would like a giant gingerbread house to be built in the restaurant.
Woo.
So it was like
You froze for a second there, Jane. Just as you said the word giant, you froze. I was like, what is she going to say?
Really?
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
I wondered what she was going to say as well. But anyway, it was a gingerbread house, which in the scheme of things is probably not that offensive. Apart from the fact, this was in the employee restaurant kind of bit, not in the director's dining rooms, obviously. But they were all going to have this 3 days of Christmas lunches and culminating in the 3rd day when there'd be carols and all the bit, usual. So I go into the chefs and go, they want a gingerbread house and it's got to be like life size. And they're all, well, you can imagine what you see that little wham behind you?
Yeah.
It was sort of, we needed that kind of graphic to describe what they said to me.
Except with Paul Spencer's type language.
There you go. I mean, I don't know you, Paul, so who knows about your language, but there you go.
He is
you don't know him now.
But look, I wouldn't. At the end of the day, it's a pot calling the kettle black with these guys, so I wouldn't worry about it. Thank you.
You make a fair point.
Fair enough. So anyway, we somehow, there's no internet then, right? So we couldn't go, how do you make a giant gingerbread house? We had to go and get books and try recipes and do all this stuff and learn how to stick it all together. Yeah, I know, all that.
Wow.
Anyway, we managed to construct this thing. They were pulling all-nighters. They were pretty much cementing it almost with concrete, not quite, but, it was probably not edible. Anyway, we did this thing and it looked amazing and the client's delighted and it's all wonderful. And all the Christmas decorations are coming in. And she said, oh, by the way, I've changed your Christmas tree supplier this year. I thought, well, I wasn't there the year before, so I didn't know anything about it anyway. But we had to use nominated suppliers because obviously contract caterers have deals with these people. But clients go, oh, no, I don't want it from them. I want it from my cousin's friend who's in Chigwell or something. So anyway, these Christmas trees came in, all looked very beautiful, fine. Day 1 of the Christmas celebrations, brilliant. Day 2, brilliant. Came in the morning of day 3. Christmas trees are all bald and the gingerbread house has literally collapsed overnight. And this is the big day when all the directors and partners are coming in, all the guests, the choir are coming. It's all going to be lovely. And there's just devastation with crap everywhere.
I feel a bit sick.
Yeah. So somehow we managed to sort of piece this together into some sort of quirky house and just put loads of really thick fondant all over it, so you couldn't even tell it was like a lot of fondant. Couldn't even tell it was a gingerbread house, really. It just looked like
a gingerbread cottage by the end of it.
Big cakey cottage
laden in snow.
And then
more like a little extension.
No, exactly. So we're running around the city trying to get this. I mean, you can imagine trying to get this fondant, and then we had to do something with the bald trees because the supplier's like, no, mate, we're too far away now. Can't bring any more. So we had to go all the way to Soho, and in Soho in those days there were all these wholesale like fabric shops and buy tons and tons and tons and tons of ribbon, and then pretty much everybody I could get hold of, anybody off the street would have done, came in and tied bows around these trees. So it looked like we'd gone for this sort of quite cool, way ahead of its time minimalist look with just the bare branches and the little bows all over it. Anyway, everybody came in and thought it was fun, completely wonderful. So, you just have to make the most out of a bad job, and that taught me a lot for life, really.
Yeah, well, Christmas time problem solving is like, it's just the same as every other problem solving, isn't it? Really, that sounded like when I was having a bit of a heart attack there when you said what you had to deal with. But
yeah.
But no,
so this is why I always cook the Christmas lunch, because like if anything goes wrong, it doesn't matter, because it's like, well, it can never be that bad, could it? Drop the turkey, don't worry about it, it's fine.
Yeah, go around to Kieran's house and have a pizza.
So that's my story.
Fantastic.
Thanks,
Thank you very much, Jane. I would imagine that you have to go now, given the fact
I'm
that you're
sorry, I do.
I'd
love
late,
to stay. But,
Jane,
hey,
if you want to send us a big old sort of gingerbread house to our office, that would be fabulous. Just to really reframe that story, it'd be nice. Just
right, let me run home and get my pinny on, and I'll see what I can do.
I believe in you.
We've got the internet now. You'll be fine.
Bye.
Nice to see you.
Love to see you.
Christmas,
Merry
Jane.
Christmas, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye. Right, Spence, you're up.
I was getting the gingerbread fear there.
Oh,
God,
that's
just amazing.
You know that feeling when you just start welling up from there, and you're like,
the sickness in your stomach.
Yeah.
Strange thing.
I've also, just to let you know, I've always got a disco ball as well. Like, I'm fully in Christmas mode here.
Is that literally yours?
Nothing is too much
wherever you go.
It just follows me around. Actually, there's people that do that.
I was watching him and watching his Instagram over the weekend, and he's had the best.
Weird.
Well, he's had the best weekend. If I'm honest with you, I like living.
It's been amazing.
To live vicariously through you, Spence. You have a great life,
mate. That was going to Lapland was pretty cool, right? We took my 4-year-old up there. It was truly magical experience. I
looked amazing.
Cried my eyes out. It was awesome.
There's a Lapland
really,
in Merthyr Tydfil this year, just up the road from me. It's not as good.
I don't think it's the same, mate. I'll be honest with you.
Have you been?
No.
How do you know?
I went. I took my youngest, and he wasn't happy. Welsh Lapland is not as good as the real one, apparently.
Yeah,
lots of sheep though. But yeah, anyway.
Loads of sheep in hats. It was really awkward.
Sheep and cheese, but yeah.
Look, it was good. It was good. Becky's like, what is going on?
Definitely do it if you've got kids. I would highly recommend it.
Yeah, don't do it if you haven't got kids. That's just weird.
Yeah.
No, I think those guys aren't even allowed near schools. They're most probably not allowed near Lapland. Right. Let's talk stories.
Yeah, let's do it. Yes.
So look, one of the things that I truly remember is in the early days, you remember where GMs used to use commercial kitchens like their own personal shopping thing? I remember those first years as an F&B director, on sort of that 21st of December, the GM's car backing up to the kitchen and him almost laying and ordering, I want 4 turkeys, a commie chef and some sprouts. And you used to sort of have to load the car up. It was almost a privilege of the job was that they would get to feast from the lovely kitchens of the hotels. And I did that for many, many years. Anyway, that's not the point of the story, but it was.
And then you became a GM, and it was.
Yeah, and then I became a GM and didn't have a big enough car, so it was really weird. So one of my favorite stories is I worked as a GM in an undisclosed 5-star hotel who had this. I only worked in one. So you can just sort of skim all the way through LinkedIn. There's only one on there. And one of the great ideas that he had was on Christmas Eve for our guests, we actually deliver the kids' presents to the rooms. So one of those really essential things, the guests would bring them in, we would put them in a bag, tag them, and then we would deliver them to the room. I mean, idea.
I like that.
Yeah, it's nice.
Beautiful idea.
Yeah,
really nice. We have 172 rooms. That narrows this down even further on my CV. Go down about page 2. So let's talk how this is going to work. So we've got guests, we've got a room number, we've got a bag of presents. I mean, this all seems pretty simple. Yeah, all great. So, I was about to say a name then, but I won't do that. How long ago we had a lady working on Switchboard who was there, and her responsibility was doing the spreadsheet and just making sure the name and the room number all married up. So the next day we had a Santa per floor, and the idea was knock, knock, boom, there it is, all done. Now, one of the things that I would say about the certain lady who worked as a telephonist for us was she most probably wasn't a professional in Excel. There could have been the failings here. Yeah, it didn't take you long to find it. I could have said it quickly. You looked it up. So we had this amazing. She had really good intentions, but not Excel wasn't her forte in any way, shape, or form. She was great at the telephone. Most probably never going to be a data scientist. One of the challenges that she came across was there was a function that she forgot to tell us about called add line. Now, add rows. Now, that, of course, sent this whole thing into a fucking meltdown, because what happened was she had added a row and boom, all the room numbers were suddenly one out. So every guest on Christmas Day got the wrong presents. Not one or two. Every single guest was one out. So we were delivering, hey, congratulations, here's your new Barbie, 33-year-old guy. Like, a week with him. All right.
Back to them lads who aren't allowed in Lapland.
The debacle here. So slowly we go and deliver them all, and we bought these hotel branded red bags all tied up. We delivered them in, and it was a couple of minutes until the phone started ringing, and then it went off, and then there was a queue at reception of everyone with these bags of open presents now. So we've already discovered they're not right. So we've totally fucked everyone's Christmas, because we have got your present, but we kind of opened them, put the batteries in already, so there we go. So it was this huge debacle on how the recovery was a nightmare. Now, you already know that Christmas in a hotel is the most impossible service to deliver. So then put on top of it, everyone's Christmas is ruined because everyone's had the wrong presents. So there's this sort of darkness to the dining room, the stillness, the no wine, no Christmas song. Hey, should we sing Jingle Bells?
No.
Get fucked.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. So I remember begging Chef that day. I was like, bro, if there's anything you're going to do for me today, let's not fuck this up. Let's get everything out on time. And luckily he did. We did an amazing Christmas service.
God, I thought you were going to say that he, no, and then that went wrong as well.
GM took the last turkey.
Yeah, what we doing for food? The GM just took all the Christmas pudding. So yeah, we did this amazing service. But I'll never forget that moment of coming out to reception to see 172 rooms worth of guests all queuing up with a bag.
I mean, that is that's just not a mistake. That is, if I was switchboard lady and we won't say her name, I would have just left. I would have just gone
now.
Yeah,
there's another story. If ever we do a Valentine's one of these, there's another story where she really redeemed herself. So no,
there we are. You've got
hospitality redemption at Christmas.
It's a beautiful thing.
You give me an idea for another special now.
She did some really good wrapping
money again.
Things that were left in rooms, so it made it really entertaining. I'll let you figure that one out. But yeah, it was awesome. It was that was probably the most challenging Christmas I've ever had, and not because of the sort of operational logistics of it all, but just because you knew as soon as the first one came down, you knew from then on you were buggered. Like it was just absolutely out of sync. So yeah, it was pretty heavy duty. But Christmas is Christmas, right? It's one of those amazing times. You can tend to recover it like any other sort of disaster that you face. And in fairness, we face these sort of things all the day. But opening little Johnny's presents, that most probably is the worst thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
Depending what little Johnny ordered as well, that could be bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
ordered? Sounds right.
Wrong. Is that how it works?
Yeah. Order?
No, I don't know. I'm talking in Amazon terms. Anyway, no, really cool.
I feel bad now that I genuinely think that's really quite funny. And little Johnny just sitting there feeling disappointed on Christmas morning entertains me greatly. I'll be honest, I'm a bad person.
You can imagine him opening it, and you can imagine Mum and Dad looking at each other, going,
"Yeah,
did you do that? Yeah.
Did you see his letter? Did you see the letter that he?
Did you buy him an iron? Is that what you do, Johnny?
Did they bring the kids to reception just out of interest, or was it just the parents?
Oh, just adults. You could hear though if you stood outside
my kids, make you feel really bad.
No, if you stood outside the hotel, you could hear the sort of hum of crying. It was like, imagine, those things that you hit, those tuning forks. It was that sort of.
That's the true sound of Christmas right there, isn't it?
I was just going to say that
everywhere.
But that's just such a wonderful image to conjure up about the wonderful Christmas spirit of the tune of crying throughout the hotel.
Children.
Yeah, and in fairness, now we're adults. It's usually us that are crying, right? We have to spend time with our parents. If we can get past that, I mean, it's that is the toughest.
Definitely getting them the wrong presents.
I think my mum's already started boiling the veg, so it should be ready for Christmas Day for her by the time we get there. So,
to be fair, if she hadn't started that in November, she's falling short.
Very
fantastic, Spence.
Scene, but a very cool story.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. You're welcome to stick around. We're nearly done anyway. I'm
going to shoot, guys. But thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Congrats on the podcast, mate. And nice talking to you as well. I'll speak to you later on.
Always good to see you, brother.
See you later.
Guys, take care.
Bye. Bex.
Bill.
How are you?
I'm good.
Waiting patiently there. As we always run to time when we do this.
I thought you would, and I left a very compelling training session. So.
Oh well, so basically you're thanking us then.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, well, just off you go.
Just
straight
off
in.
I go.
Yeah.
Straight in.
And you're wearing a lovely red jumper as well.
Oh, I went festive for you.
We didn't get the memo.
We did not get the Christmas memo.
You totally did get the memo.
Yeah, it was definitely in the briefing. I read through it all like I was going into shift. So this was, I think, 13 years ago, Christmas, and I was running a bar and restaurant in York, which I'd just taken over. I took over on the 1st of November. Previous manager had left, just disappeared into the night, and I kind of came in November, kind of trying to pick up the pieces of this, what the hell was going on with the stock, with the staff, with the everything.
Life.
And it was
Back to GMs and a boot full of turkey, aren't we?
Exactly. And just maintenance problems everywhere. The toilets would flood into the open kitchen. And it was a chaotic site. But it was only kind of started dawning on me when I was getting calls for Christmas reservations and I was writing them down. And I've not seen a res diary anywhere. This is before the days of, putting everything on computer system. not seen a res diary anywhere. There must be one. We must have had Christmas bookings. This was one of the most kind of popular bar restaurants, kind of.
Is that where Spencer's lady went after she
must
left?
have been. It must have been her. Yeah, she must have been had taken charge of it. Luckily, it was an Excel. And basically, the previous manager had done one, and then to royally screw me over, had taken the res diary and also taken all of the deposits and pre-orders of every Christmas booking that we had, which was multiple on every days in December. But we had no idea any of this was happening until 1st of December hit, and our first Christmas booking walked in, table of 16. Yes, we've pre-ordered 16 Christmas dinners. We've
getting chest pains thinking about it.
We've paid our 160 quid deposit. There's no kind of record of any of this.
There's managers everywhere in the world, I'm giving you some credit here, Phil, who are listening to this right now, who are all going, oh my God, I've been there.
I'm having flashbacks to Hard Rock Cardiff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was just, thing is, every day I would wake up with this thread, because you didn't know, you can never know what's going to happen. Today? Yeah, you never know what you're going to happen in hospitality, particularly during December. But this kind of added a whole other level.
This is a whole level of not knowing.
I could have a table of 20 walk in who've pre-ordered magnums and whatever else. And kind of to top it off, we had this very, very regimented, he was ex-army head chef. And and I was
chef
petrified of him. And you go into
Did he take it well?
No, unsurprisingly, he didn't. He would, he was very, very thick Scottish accent, and you'd kind of creep in, you'd be like, Jimmy, there's a table.
Was his name actually Jimmy?
Please. His name was actually Jimmy. 100% it was Jimmy. And you'd be like,
Jimmy.
Table of 20, and they're all on turkey, and the level of expletives that would come out of his mouth, and you were like, I just don't even know what to do.
I just he's still speaking English. I'm not sure.
No, and so that carried on throughout kind of the whole of December. Every single day was like that, and then it got to Black Friday, and the York licensing police were very strict, and it got to Black Friday, and my door staff were about half an hour late, but my license was that I could only do licensable activity if I had door staff on. So the head of licensing stood at the end of my bar, ceased all licensable activities, so it had no booze going out. I had to turn the music off. I had
Happy Christmas!
Yeah, it was full restaurant, 5 or 6 deep at the bar. We're all just this silence, utter silence, a bit like Spence with the kids and kind of the pitchfork going on. But no, it got to kind of Christmas Eve, and I thought, that's it, I'm done, I'm out. I can't
I'm
ever.
Going into banking.
Did you stay in that job?
No, I left in the February and moved back.
Wow. You know how Chris would have handled it?
Who? Me?
Yeah.
How?
You'd have left on day one.
Yes, yeah, December the 1st. But that feeling of having people walk in.
He has got form.
Even not Christmas, when people walk in and they've got a booking and you don't know about it. It's as a door host or manager, whoever, it's the worst feeling ever. So magnify that by
a month.
Every single day. And no idea what we needed to be ordering in, what, if someone's done whatever pre-order, how many of that we needed to be doing, who's going off what set menu. It was just, I aged about 20 years, I think, in that space of 3 weeks.
I feel like you need a hug right now, to be honest with you. We're just like, shit. Time.
Do you know what? When people talk about hospitality, we are troopers. Well, you are a trooper.
Hospitality's easy. Hospitality's simple. Deal with that one for a month.
But remarkable. To put a positive spin on it, somehow, problem-solving skills off the charts, right? Like, what choice do you have when you're
creative
faced with
thinking,
lying,
bare-faced lying to people?
Scottish translations.
Very good at kind of that doing that. This was luckily pre-days of allergens and the Allergen Act, so
we're quite happy to kill people back then.
Just get it out. Well, as long as they didn't, they had a meal on their table. I think at that point,
so I suppose most were having turkey, right? I mean, as in 90% of the table. So I suppose you could kind of blag it a little bit and go, we've got turkey.
Tell that Scottish chef, it's all right, dude. 90% of the people just turned up. We didn't have a clue who they were, whether they were coming. All of them.
What they paid as a deposit, if they had paid a deposit.
So did you know where the deposit money was? I'm probably detailing the story here.
But... He'd run off with it.
Oh my!
What a man this guy was!
Run off, yeah.
What was his name?
Do you know what? I was thinking this before I came on, and I cannot for the life of me remember what.
That's probably not a bad thing.
But what I like is everybody else on the podcast has said, I don't want to share the name, but you're quite willing to. You just can't remember it.
Just can't remember it. Go on my LinkedIn, have a look of where I was running bars in York, and then
wow.
That's a great story. Can you imagine as well? 13 years ago or so, the like veganism wasn't a thing. Can you imagine a vegan walking into that environment and you going to the chef? Oh, we have a vegan in. I can imagine chef would have been delighted with that.
Well, with that chef, he would have just. Yeah, it doesn't exist, does it?
Tell them to get out.
Glassing vegans.
Yeah. Oh God,
I think we can.
Jeez, I feel like I need a stiff drink after all these.
That one's the most traumatizing, actually. Worse.
I saved it till last. Yeah. But I stayed in the industry for another 12 years after that, so it can't have started that badly.
Absolutely. And interestingly, you went into drink, didn't you? So that was,
you did.
Now we know the catalyst.
Yes, now you know what happens. How most people end up in the drinks industry is from the hospitality industry. Yeah.
Christ. Very true. We've got to go and have our Christmas do now. Actually, we genuinely are having our Christmas do tonight. So I'm just going to go around and maybe we should get them to tell their stories tonight.
Christmas stories.
Yeah, we'll see.
Ioannis gave me flashback. When Ioannis was talking about Y2K, he gave me flashbacks to a Christmas story from the very first pub I ran, and obviously it was Millennium Eve. And my wife, I was running with my wife at the time, and she was very sensible, and she was like being all prepared for Y2K, and I was doing Jaeger shots and just getting absolutely twatted. If I'm honest with you,
you were doing front of house.
Yeah, absolutely. Front of house control, and I was getting it. And we had a chef who was a bit of a run. His name was Bobby Vimto, and he was a hell of a dude. But he was a photographer as well.
So, hang on.
I know. I don't even know why his name was Bobby Vimto.
Bobby Vimto.
Bobby Vimto. Hell of a dude. Great photographer. Not such a good chef, but he was a little bit insane.
He purple.
Yeah, he had a slight tinge to him, a hue, if you will. And I remember looking up, and just literally as midnight struck on the Millennium, I looked up, and I used to run a venue that had like a live venue upstairs. And as I looked up the staircase, I saw him with a gas mask on, and he'd covered himself in lighter fuel in his chef's whites, set fire to himself, and jumped over the balcony. Now, I completely forgotten about that story until Ioannis was telling me about it. I was like, wow, my wife was being so sensible.
Why?
Why did I forget?
No, why did he set himself on fire?
Because he was like weird.
Okay. Such a weird story.
I feel...
was he okay?
Well, it's fine.
Apparently, okay.
Apparently, it wasn't the first time he'd done it. Apparently, he'd got form for it, just not while he was working for me. I do actually have a photo, Phil, so I'll send it to you. You can maybe use as the image for the show.
I'm sure.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that'll really draw people. I mean, it probably will draw people in. Bit of sensationalism.
Flambe Vimto.
Very good.
He's like,
I feel like this podcast was worth doing just to draw that memory out of you, Kieran, that you've forgotten.
It's really made me smile as well. He was a really lovely lad. Mad as a box of frogs, but absolute genius.
He's got such an edit on his hands. Sorry, Phil.
I really can't wait.
Yeah,
sorry, not sorry.
I am bringing the Christmas joy.
Well, look, Becky, you're welcome to stick around, but you are the last guest. So
I am.
That would be weird.
I've got to jump back on the training.
Yeah.
So
good luck with that. Nice to meet you.
You too. Thanks so much,
Becky. Merry Christmas to you.
Soon.
Bye. Love it to meet you, Becky.
Bye. Well, there we are. Here endeth the Christmas special. What did you make of that, boys?
That's what I made of it, Phil. It's been an emotional experience of him.
Just do that again.
That is. I was going to say that it just shows how resilient we are as an industry.
Oh, look at you.
Look at you bringing it back to learning.
Yeah, all back to learning. Have you heard of a Tolo?
Serving those or serve others.
Serving those. Especially at Christmas. No, I was just saying that everyone's been, no matter how much we F up in the industry, which happens daily, probably everywhere, we tend to turn it around, and Christmas, people forgive you a little bit more, I think, apart from when you get the presents wrong.
I don't think except 170 people were forgiving him, I'll be honest with you. I reckon they've still got pictures of him on the wall with pins in them.
I don't think he was there. I think he was running down the high street by that point. I think it was just his team dealing with it. He was like,
dressed as Santa.
Do you know, the thing is, though, is that of all of the stories we've had today, like I can totally visualize that scenario. Yes. Like whether it's, you know, look at all the effort they've made to bring in this Santa that's coming down in a parachute. Well, hang on, Santa's not the same guy as he was earlier. Like, so that's the thing you care about, is it? Yeah. Or, you know, or Paul's story, which, you know, quite frankly was traumatic, but yeah, and then Bex, bless her.
Not for the, oh yeah, it was for everyone actually.
Little Johnny and his iron, you know what I mean?
I saw Tom O'Connor once as a magician. Of course, you did. With my dad, and I remember because kids do point stuff out, right? And I was watching, and he put a coin in his pocket when he was doing a trick. And I stood up in front of 500 people and went up and went, "Oh, your coin! You put it in your pocket. It's not a trick; it's in your pocket." And he was really angry. This isn't a Christmas story.
Why would you piss on his chips like that?
Because I saw him do it. He cheated.
Well, no, that's the way magic works. It's not actually magic.
It's very funny.
He was a nice man.
Tom O'Connor,
yeah,
very cool.
Yeah,
very
for anyone under the age of 35, you not know what we've just spoken about. So, yes, there we are.
I don't reckon he was that nice in that moment. I reckon he said some terrible things about a young Chris Fletcher.
The friend of the dad.
Friend of the family.
Yeah.
Of course he was.
President of Retro.
Liked to ride the balloon, did he?
Anyway.
Yes. Anyway, right. Well, I think it's time to wrap and go to the pub.
That's our plan, Phil, if I'm honest with you. That is the plan for the day. Christmas parties.
How do you feel about your year of podcasts, Phil, as we go into 2023? You had a good time?
It's been great, yeah. And we keep uncovering more and more excellent stories. I feel like I'm getting interviewed for a podcast now. Is this your podcast or is this?
Yeah, well, we're just doing your wrap up for you.
We're helping you.
You're tired. You've had a long year.
You've interviewed a lot of people.
Yeah, well, there's a lot more to come yet. There's the podcast will evolve into 2023. There's a few different plans, so just watch this space. Not going to dive
barely scratched the surface, have you, Phil?
Only just got started, mate. So many excellent people in this industry, whether it's at Christmas or any other time. And I'm excited to keep speaking to all the legends that are out there. Merry Christmas to you one and all, and we'll see you again in 2023 for some more fun and shenanigans. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Well, once again, wasn't that amazing, boys and girls, mums and dads? So many amazing stories from our beloved industry. We hope that this has brought you a moment of happiness at Christmas and a reminder that our industry is fabulous and so full of fun. A huge thank you to everyone who agreed to share their Christmas tales. Please don't forget to share the show as far and wide as you can. Let's remind the world that this is the most fun you can have whilst at work. All that remains to say is thanks so much for listening throughout 2022, and we'll be back as usual every Wednesday 8 p.m. in the new year with more stories from the amazing human beings of hospitality. Until then, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and the most phenomenal 2023.